To start the meeting tonight, we'd like to recognize the Horsham Fire Company and the firefighters and paramedics and EMTs for their service to the community. Bill?
Each year we try to make some time in our busy schedules as well as your busy schedule to say thank you. Thank you to the work that you do. Thank you to the service that you do to the community, and to thank you and show our appreciation to you. You do an amazing job. We know up here, we know that you leave your families, you make sacrifices for yourself and your families on those late nights, on those holidays, on those weekends when you get the calls. And we really appreciate and thank you for them. So we want to take just another time to say, again, we appreciate you and all the work that you do. I've known a lot of you, but there's a lot of new young faces, which is great to see. Great to see that. It's called succession planning. So, but we really appreciate your work. A lot of us just live our lives, and if we need 911 and that Horsham ambulance or that Horsham fire truck is pulling up, this council, as well as past councils, as you know, and some of you that have been involved with the fire company for many years, know that we fully support you and the job that you do. So we're very fortunate in Horsham. I think you are the best fire company. We like everyone else in the county and in the state, but we truly believe we have the best fire company. And I think some of you guys know that. A few years ago, DCED did their study, and now they use your fire company as a model around the state of Pennsylvania. So that just reflects the great job that you are all doing. It's your board, it's your officers, it's the firefighters, it's the career staff, it's the volunteers. You all make it happen as a team. So thank you.
I've known many of you for a long time, and I can't agree more with what Bill said. We truly appreciate your service and your dedication to Horsham Township. I have a proclamation that I'd like to read next. Whereas Horsham Fire Company Number 1 has been serving the residents of Horsham Township and the surrounding community since 1913. Our fire company is a combination department consisting of career staff and volunteer members who are on call 24/7, 365 days a year, and have a proud history of heroic service backed by ongoing training. And whereas the firefighters, emergency medical services personnel, and fire police of Horsham Fire Company Number 1 are essential in protecting over 26,000 individuals living in an area of 17.32 square miles and neighboring communities. And whereas the members of Horsham Fire Company Number 1 continually demonstrate courage, professionalism, and selflessness, dedication through their quick response to emergencies, commitment to public safety, education, and active involvement in community events. And whereas we express our deepest appreciation, admiration, and gratitude for the members and volunteers of Horsham Fire Company Number 1, recognizing their unwavering service, teamwork, and continued commitment to keeping our community safe. Thank you.
I don't know. Before you start your presentation, does anyone? The floor is open if anyone wants to say anything.
I'll cover it for my
Okay. So what we'll ask everyone is Chief Greenberg is going to do his annual update to Township Council next, and then after he's done, if all of you can hang out, we want a group picture of all of you with council. So, Chief.
Good evening, Council. Once again, I'd like to thank Council, Mr. Walker, for allowing us to come in and speak with you tonight. The proclamation is always appreciated, and it's very kind words, and we thank you for that. So these first 4 slides are pretty similar to what you've seen in the past. Nothing really has changed since last year from the way our organization is built. We have 4 divisions: Fire, EMS, Fire, Police, and Auxiliary. Battalion 1, which is the Meeting House Road Station. We house the rescue engine, which is Squad 15, the ladder, and the new engine. The Utility 15 was just moved to Battalion 2 just because that's where some of the fire police live, so that's has been moved. That's just a support apparatus, carries the fire police equipment. And there's 2 ambulances in each station. And then Battalion 2 has the Quint, which is essentially a ladder truck with a pump on it. Our volunteer staffing has stayed pretty stable in the last couple years. We maintained about 15 active. We have a lot of new people, as you can see here tonight, but they just haven't been in for the year or 2 that requires them to make active status. So hopefully those numbers will rise in the coming years. Career staffing, we still have 2 dual service EMS crews, 24 hours a day, 1 crew in each station. There's a 3rd crew weekdays, 9 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night. And we have 7, so during the week, during the day, to kind of summarize that, we have 7 firefighters working, 5 at the Meeting House Road Station and 2 at the Horsham Road Station. So our budget, we are on pace to finish at budget levels in the for the general, which is what we use as like our operating funds. Our relief, which is the monies provided by the state through the Auditor General's office from out-of-state written insurance, commercial insurance. We're slated to finish pretty far under budget. We've really scaled back on our expenses and trying to build a bigger rainy day fund. Some of the accomplishments, as you guys stated in the proclamation, we attended township events, Horsham Day and National Night Out. We try to, we've made several block parties throughout the year, throughout the summer months when people invite us. We assisted the Biddle Air Guard Station, the security force, with emergency ops plan. It was the first time in a long time we were asked to do that. There was a contingent of us that went up and had a couple different meetings after some incidents, minor incidents up there. So we are strengthening our relationship with the security forces up there on the base. And several of our staff supervisors are in the process of attending Divots Leadership Academy. We've never really highlighted that before, but we feel that that's important, both for succession planning and just to let everyone know that we do take a lot of pride in the leadership that we provide. We still continue to provide Keith Valley Middle School students with extinguisher training, and we're going through the process of transferring our NIFRS to NERIS, and you have no idea what that is, so I'm going to briefly explain that to you. NIFRS stands for the National Fire Incident Reporting System. And NERIS is National Emergency Response Information System, I believe. So essentially, it's the government's way of reporting fire calls throughout the United States. They've decided to switch to this NERIS system, so we are preparing and we are prepared for the shift, which is essentially January 1. So basically, it's just turning over our reporting software, but it's a whole different line of training because reports are entered in a different manner. So some hot topics. We still are one of the host companies for the Region 5 standardization. The Montgomery County is divided into 6 regions. We are in the 5th region, which is us, Hatboro, Upper Moreland, the Abington and Cheltenham companies, Fort Washington, Wissahickon, which is Lower Gwinnett, and Ambler. We are working on standardizing our procedures for both response and fireground activity. So it's a long and arduous task, but we are in the process of getting through it. So we hope to have a standard for this region by like 2030. We're hoping that everybody's operating the same way, which would be a huge thing. We hosted an elevator rescue training from a national expert. We had them out in September. We go to a fair amount of elevator emergencies in town and out of town, so we felt the need to get some more advanced training than what the local counties can provide. So we had somebody come in from the national circuit and provided us a weekend worth of training. It was very good. And I certainly have joked about this with Mr. Walker over the years in our meetings, and even sometimes in this room, in this venue. But Squad 15, which is the 2004 rescue engine, is getting a new motor. And I always say, well, we try to keep a nest egg in case a truck blows a motor. Well, our 21-year-old engine blew a motor. So it is actually out as we speak, getting its new motor, and we hope to be able to Band-Aid that for a few more years. Some of our statistics, these are both January through October. So for total EMS dispatches is over 3,000. We're on pace for about 3,660 for the year, 6% increase. Mutual aid calls is 877. We're up 14% from last year, which is almost unbelievable. We've transported almost 2,300 to the hospital, again up 6.5%. And our scratch calls is up 134, meaning we didn't make those responses, and that's up 20%. However, more calls means more opportunity for scratches because we just exceed the amount of resources that we have. We spend a lot of time, our medics and EMS folks spend a lot of time outside Horsham. And we've taken as many steps as we possibly could to minimize that and the effects of that. However, there's a lot, we're swimming upstream with that. So we are still trying some different things to get those scratch numbers down. But at the end of the day, we can only do what we can do. So for fire calls, we're at 677 just for the calendar year, on pace for over 800. These stats are a little confusing, so I'll explain them. Of the 677 calls, we've received or given mutual aid 26% of the time. We give aid of that 677 or of that 26.7, 79% we give aid, meaning we give a lot more than we get, right? So we spend a lot of time helping our neighbors out. And again, the point is that we give a lot of aid to the surrounding communities.
And I'll just touch on that. I think next year I would like to have more conversation with council, and I think we need to have more conversations with our county commissioners, our state senator, our state representative on this issue. And I say that not that the fire company doesn't mind responding when help is needed, but we as taxpayers, as Horsham taxpayers, we do the right thing. We are committed, we are dedicated to our fire company, we give them the resources that they need to make sure we have our fire and ambulance services, public safety covered in Horsham. But unfortunately, it goes beyond that, and if they're dispatched by 911, the county public safety department, by law, they have to go. They have to go. And a lot of the communities around us, not all, but a lot of them, do not give financially to their fire companies and ambulance services as we do. So they get the opportunity to possibly keep their taxes down or put their money somewhere else when we provide the money from the taxes, from the taxpayers to our fire company, and then they know Horsham will come. So I think we need to have more conversation with our county and state elected officials, and is a fee. Like if we have to respond to another township, another municipality, and at least we should get something back. The fire company should be getting something back for having to respond to that community, because that community doesn't have the necessary coverage that they need to cover their town. So it's conversations that we need to have as the fire company comes every year to you, you hear this increasing more and more. And why? Because we staff them, we provide the resources, we provide the taxpayers money to make sure they have the money and the staff, and they run an efficient and productive fire company, best in the state, and everybody knows that around us. So it's conversations that we have to have more with our county and state officials.
Should we ask questions now or hold them to the end? Because I've
Whatever
been
you're comfortable
writing as you're going.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay, well, and so exactly on that point, one of my questions when you were talking about the standardization across Region 5, like that was kind of exactly where my question was going. Is that possible if other communities don't have the same budget we do? Or is it possible, given where they operate now, to get to there by 2030?
So the standardization we're speaking about is operational only. It's not staffing.
Okay,
We don't, the standardization committee doesn't have any control of other people's budgets.
That
So,
makes sense.
so this is just how we physically operate, think task oriented
Okay.
on emergency scenes.
okay. Do you have any insight into why the EMS numbers are increasing? Is this just like purely population increase is resulting in increased numbers, or any other hypothesis?
It's a little bit of yes, population is a big, more people, more problems, right? Like, the more people we have, the more opportunity that we need EMS, right? We have a lot of 55 and older both in Horsham, but also in the surrounding communities. We have facilities, and it's a busy area. You folks travel the roads. There's there's car crashes. There's all those things that become our problem, and that's why we're here to deal with.
And then for your numbers for the fire calls, are those up as well, or?
They're a little up. We flirt with 800 calls. We've been flirting with 800 calls just about every year for like the last 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And if the fire company had more time and they weren't going out of town so as frequently as they do, that they would have more time in town to respond to our calls. A lot of times, as these scratch calls that they're responding to an ambulance call in Hatfield Township, and then they get a fire call in Horsham, and they're in Hatfield. So, they would have more time to visit our schools. They would have more time to do community relations and outreach. You see some towns, on their Facebook sites, all this that their fire companies are doing or fire departments are doing. We can't do that here in Horsham because they're on the run all day. Really all day.
It's if you were to have a radio or one of our pagers, I mean, it's almost guaranteed after the second ambulance call, there's going to be a fire call. That's just the way it happens, right? Like, and then we're scrambling. So.
And are the scratch calls specific to the ones in our community, or does that also include other?
Yeah, because you don't get considered a scratch
if it's
out of town, because you wouldn't even be selected in the CAD for a call that you don't have an available resource for.
Got it, understood.
And while we're on this same topic, when you talk about state and county resources, are there funds for that would offset, and would it be a direct fee payment, or would it be towards increased staffing to have more resources on hand?
That's all the conversations to have.
Okay. And Divots, is that Delaware Valley
Insurance
Trust?
Trust,
Okay.
yes.
And I got Niffers and Nearest. For the relief budget, with the excess relief budget, and you spoke to a rainy day fund, is that restricted how you can use those funds? Okay.
So essentially, the relief is they've relaxed. The Auditor General's office has relaxed what we're allowed to spend the money on. But just think it's for the firefighters and generally safety items. So we can buy a little bit more outside that, but that's generally what it's for. It's for the safety and the benefit of the responding firefighters.
Okay.
So we spend a lot of money on insurance, on our insurances for that. We buy our turnout gear out of that. We do SCBAs out of that, which is our air tanks, not oxygen tanks. That's the type of stuff that we buy with that.
Is there any restriction to how much you can carry over, or like as far as building the fund?
There once you get to a certain number, which we're not at,
Okay.
they could start to look at you a little sideways. But,
Right.
But we have a pretty good financial plan for our relief association.
Thank you for that. And there was one more, and it went out of my brain. Sorry. Oh, the new motor. How long did you say you expect that to last?
Well, we
Hopefully.
hope it lasts. We hope the motor lasts a long time.
Right.
The problem is we're putting in a 2025 motor in a 2021
20-year,
truck,
right.
or I'm sorry, a 2004 truck with a 2004 transmission and everything else. So we're making a lot of bridges.
Sure, sure.
So we're hoping we can get through 5 to 8 years with it.
Okay. No, that's helpful. Thank you.
So future considerations, again, number one is always staffing, volunteer and career. There's a lot of discussion. I go to a lot of conferences due to my full-time job. All the conferences are saying the same thing, right? And a lot of the fire chiefs that stand up in the middle of the room that make a lot more money than I do say the same thing. Like, we just need qualified and willing people in seats. We don't really care if they're volunteer or career. Unfortunately, you can't get blood from a stone, right? The good and the bad of it is, we live in this end of the county. It's a fairly affluent area, and people that live in these types of areas don't volunteer at the local firehouse, and that's what we're dealing with here. As we see, we have a lot of younger members in the room. Unfortunately, they turn 18, 19, they go to college, right? And then they come back and they may or may not be able to afford to live here. And that's what we run into is we spend a lot of time training them. We send them to all the schools and everything else, and then no fault of their own, they move on because they have to. And that's what we're up against, and that's what the area is up against. That's not a Horsham problem, right? That's a United States problem. So that's the hill that we're trying to climb. Longevity plans for the fire company. How do we sustain the organization, right? We have all these things that we're trying to accomplish, and we don't have a lot of people, and we need funds and we need people. So time's yours, as Andy Reid used to say.
How many people is ideal number of people?
Well, that's a loaded question.
I know.
Because
turnout.
if you gave me 1,000 people, that would be great. But I need 20 of them or 30 of them to come to a fire. Mm-hmm. So if I have 10,000 people, but I don't get the people that I need to come to that incident, it doesn't matter how many people I have, right? So we have 3 trucks. It'd be ideal to have 4 or 5 on each truck for every response. So, 15, 20 per call, times 800 calls.
But 800 not at the same time.
Well, right. But the other part of the problem is, right, like every time the call goes off from a volunteer level, right, they're getting up from their job, they're getting up from their home, they're leaving their family and everything else. People aren't going to do that 800 times a year.
No,
right?
certainly. Yeah.
So, and those of us that are getting a little long in the tooth, we still love doing it, but it's not as easy for us to do. So,
Thank you.
Chief, probably to your left,
That's Sean's on the.
might be behind you. I'm probably to your left, wherever I am. Yeah, I just had a question. Have you reached out to any of the local colleges, the veteran groups? I know at Villanova, one is currently doing paramedic as he pursues a nursing program. And I know another that did firefighting in between service and being at school. I think that a lot of veterans look for purpose, and I know you guys have a tight-knit group. So I think that might be a viable option. I'm not sure if you guys have reached out to like Bucks County, Montco, Villanova, Temple, or any of these universities or colleges in the area.
So a few years ago, one of the former council folks got us in touch with Temple. We spent a day at Temple, and we really got nothing out of that. Literally, we have a lot of advertising on our social media websites, everything else. If people call with questions, we answer them. But quite frankly, we spend a lot of time trying to run the place. Reaching out to all these different groups. We've been here for over 100 years. We're not going anywhere. So if those folks are interested, we would encourage them to come in for a tour, and we would certainly tell them what we need, and if they could help us, then we would do that.
Yeah, they just don't know what they don't know. And I mean, we lost a substantial population with the base closing, and I don't know if your budget can handle a full-time staff. So, I mean, I know the director down in Villanova I can put you in contact with, but people don't know what they don't know. And if veterans don't know that they can volunteer at these places, they're certainly not going to reach out. And we need a fire department, and I don't know what we can afford if you guys are having a full-time staff and you get folded into the township and can't sustain the company independently.
Sure, you can give them my contact information. I would love to talk to them.
Okay.
That's it?
It would be a picture.
Well, I guess just, if I could, just my final comment is I would like to take the opportunity to thank the members of council that'll be leaving over the past, Bill, for past 100 years. You've been a great supporter of the organization, and we really appreciate working with you and all the guidance and support you've given us over the years, so we really do appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, what I said earlier, what Bill said earlier, thank you for your service. It means a lot to Horsham Township, and friendship with so many of you has meant a lot to me, so thank you.
Picture time. Dennis.
All right, the next item this evening is a public hearing on an ordinance amending the township zoning ordinance to create new zoning districts on the formal Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base Willow Grove as per the approved redevelopment plan. Council will now call to order a hearing on an ordinance which was advertised for hearings and consideration this evening. The ordinance is a zoning ordinance amendment which would rezone the Naval Air Station referred to as the base to be consistent with the reuse plan as approved by this community and the federal government in 2014. This ordinance would create the new zoning districts of R8 residential, O2 office non-manufacturing, and TC town center, and would amend the zoning map to rezone parts of the base as BPD-2 Business Park District 2, C3 Highway Commercial, O2 Office Non-Manufacturing, R1 Residential, R3 Residential, R4 Residential, R8 Residential, and TC Town Center, as described in the attached legal descriptions and as shown on the proposed zoning map. The ordinance does not propose to rezone any properties outside of the base or any privately owned property. The ordinance would also create the new uses of base revitalization community and base revitalization transitional community, amend the U.S. regulations for C3 and BPD2, and establish a process for the review and approval of master plans to ensure overall consistency with the reuse plan. This hearing is your chance to let council know what you think about the ordinance. Mr. Walker will provide more detail on the changes which are being made, and then you will have a chance to make comments.
Yes, sir. So before I get started, because I might forget this and I don't want to. So as council knows, we started this process back in the springtime for the rezoning of the base. And we have an amazing team here at Horsham. And when I first met with them and said what our task was and what we have to accomplish by the end of this year, they looked at me and said, "How are we going to do this?" And they did it. So I want to thank Mike Shinton and Kelsey Harris from the Township Code Department, Eric Garten behind me, our Township Engineer, Dave Keatley, our Township Solicitor, and the Montgomery County Planning Commission, and specifically Marley Bice, who is our land planner from the County Planning Commission. They did an amazing job in a very short time frame. And they got step 1 done, they got step 2 done, and they got step 3 done. which is tonight. So I just wanted to take a moment and thank them for all the work and the many hours that they put in this year to accomplish what council wanted done this year. So with that, I know some of these slides we have seen before, but they're all related. And it's this was our base redevelopment timeline. I highlighted in red. I'm not going to read them all, but the ones in red are the real milestones. That in 2005, the Willow Grove base was listed to be closed. 2011, the Navy left. 2012, our redevelopment plan for the Navy base was approved. 2021, the HLRA began phased transfer negotiations with the Navy. And just this fall in 2025, an agreement of sale was signed for 118 acres, which is a huge milestone for this community after 20 years. So this is the base redevelopment plan. This was approved in 2012. So this is approved by the federal government for the Navy base. Also, for those of us that lived in town at the time, beginning in 2009 for about 2 years, very, very heavily attended public meetings, sometimes up to 400 people at a meeting, met on weekends with charrettes, did surveys. So it's all part of the federal law BRAC process of closing a base, but a very, very public process came up with this redevelopment plan. So some people ask, why are we rezoning? Because the redevelopment plan has been approved since 2012. We want to be proactive. We want to be protective. So a lot of things go down in Washington, and we got a little nervous and anxious at the beginning of this year. The new policies of Washington was to clear out some federal properties, clear out federal buildings for more efficiency, and we were worried that Willow Grove was going to be taken out of the local hands, and we wanted to be proactive on that and to protect our community. So we also want to show the Navy good faith that we as a township we're moving forward with the base. Council adopted the comprehensive plan in 2025. As you know, that is a plan that will last the next 10 plus years in Horsham, and that comprehensive plan has the approved redevelopment plan for the base in it, and then just proper community planning and setting ourselves up for good things to happen. We talked about proactive and protective. The township and the community in many different ways have spent tens of millions of dollars in preparation for the redevelopment because we wanted to be proactive. When we're ready to hit that home run, we don't want to strike out because we didn't plan proactively for the redevelopment. So our sewer treatment plant has been expanded in preparation for the redevelopment. We have public water planned. Blair Mill Road is currently being widened. That's a major corridor that will be affected with anything that happens on the base. Easton and Moreland intersection was done recently. We're continuing or probably going out to bid this winter for the Horsham Road and Limekiln Pike intersection. The bridge replacement and the road widening from Babylon Road to Davis Grove Road. The Route 611 corridor improvement plan, and more. And as we just mentioned, that policies have changed in Washington, and sometimes we don't know what is happening or what will happen. So if anything does, good or bad, whatever happens to the property, they have to follow by the local zoning. And we continue to make progress with the Navy in negotiations, and again, our rezoning shows the Navy that the township is moving forward. So in the beginning, in the spring, we took these, we divided it into 3 steps. The protective rezoning was completed and approved by you, Township Council, in June of 2025. The official map was August of 2025, and tonight is the comprehensive rezoning as per the approved plan. There's a lot of rumors going on out there. We can't control all of them. We can't control social media comments. But there is no land transfer at this time. We are looking at the land transfer of the 118 acres maybe in 18 to 24 months. That's a federal process, and yes, that's how long it takes the federal government to transfer land. There are no land development plans. There is no construction occurring at this time. And there's no construction of roads through the base occurring at this time. As we know, this is a map that you've seen in the past. So the entire base, which on this map is a light green, this was before June. It was all industrial zoned, the entire base. And in June, step one was the protective zoning. We basically cut it in half, made half the base R1, half the base business park district to protect ourselves from, and I always use the 322 going over the bridge, Commodore Barry Bridge, and the sea of warehouses and distribution centers, and it literally is a sea, and they keep on building them. That's exactly what 611 could have been without you taking action with changing the zoning for the base. The next step was the official map. It's not something that's used a lot in municipalities, but the state law, the municipalities planning code, allows for municipalities to adopt official map. We did that in August. So this is the official approved map for the base property, and that designates the roads, right-of-way, open space, grounds, property for the school district in the future, where a water tank may go, where a sewer pump station may go, and it protects those areas. They are designated areas that unless a developer gets approval from council to amend the map, they have to put all of that stuff is guaranteed as shown. Of course, as development happens, there will be chances to negotiate and stuff. The road system changed, so as we developed and got closer to the official map, the HLRA was working closely with Michael Baker International on the road system and road network. So the main spine of the road moved over a little bit. The idea was why cut the developments in half and have kids trying to cross a major road to go see their friends on bikes. So we moved the road closer to the existing Biddle Air Guard Station. There were 3 roads going through here, but there's a landfill that was capped over here for contamination, so we can't put a road. And it was also decided through the studies and reports from the traffic engineers that a 3rd road really truly wasn't needed, that 2 roads through the base that connects Horsham Road to 611 was sufficient. And really, it's just this leg here. Let me use the other pointer. Sorry. It's just this leg here because this road here was going to go through here and go down here, and then Privet Road was going to come all the way down. So we just joined the roads here together, and then we did a lot of study with Norristown Road Extension, and that's your official map that you adopted. So this is our proposed comprehensive zoning. It's very colorful. It looks a lot going on, but there's what matters. So here's our redevelopment plan. Here's our zoning map. So our zoning has to mirror, for the most part, the redevelopment plan, and that's federal law. So you can see we'll start out here is our open space. We just did that R1 because out this direction in our township is R1. So we kept that R1, but that will be primarily just all open space at the end near Keith Valley Road. Then we step into R3, which is our large lot single family homes on the redevelopment plan. R4 is our small lot singles, We had to give some designation to the existing Biddle Air Guard Station, so we just put them in R1, and they'll be zoned R1 in case anything happens to them in the future. Hopefully not. As we come, as I said, the roadway moved a little bit on us, but here's all the purple, which is originally in 2012. It was back in those years. It was called office parks. They're no longer. That's not the design, but here's all of our purple here for the companies and offices. This was our town center. Our town center shifted a little bit and enlarged a little bit. It still includes a park, so that's the town center area. The R8 is your townhomes, your apartments. The O2 is school district property, the hotel, conference center, the community caring assisted living center, and then out front is your commercial. O2 is also your permanent supportive housing. There's 75 units in this location here for permanent supportive housing. That's a legal binding agreement with the Genesis group out of Montgomery County and the Bucks County Housing Authority. As you know, why is Bucks County Housing Authority involved? The housing for this base was in Warminster. Shenandoah Woods was the Navy housing for this property. I'm not touching anything, so. And that's it. That's your comprehensive zoning, and that's what's in front of you tonight for your consideration. But it pretty much mirrors the approved redevelopment plan. And then again, this protects us going forward. It doesn't mean that, there's things that we didn't have time and we thought of afterwards, but they're really minor things behind the scenes, a lot of weeds and in the details. But as you know, in my budget presentation, we hope to start the update to our full zoning ordinance and zoning map, so we can add in what we sort of ran out of time to put in this ordinance. But this really protects the community in the sense that if for some odd reason our negotiations with the Navy stop for the remainder of the base, whoever the Navy auctions the property off to or sells the property to will have to follow our zoning. So this really protects us moving forward. That is what is in front of you this evening.
Just to reconfirm some of the things that you said, and you sat in the meetings with the Navy. As things were shuffling around in Washington, more than once, they said, warehouses are really nice, distribution centers are really popular out here. And I think they were serious when they were making those statements.
Yes. Yes, it truly protects the township.
Just to clarify, so Bucks County Housing Group, where it is on the first map, that's encompassed in the O2 zoning?
Yes.
Okay. And what is C3?
Those are commercial, so those would be like retail commercial, nothing specific, but anything like retail commercial.
Okay. And the museum, I think, gets expanded space, is that right? They're part of
Yes.
O2 also?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
As any of this starts to be developed, I guess maybe even more specifically to the land that's already been transferred, which is the BPD2 sections, like the 118 acres that was signed off already. Will residents have an opportunity to weigh in on any development plans that are going there as it relates to traffic? I know it's like, again, specifically those sections do have houses right across the road from them. So as it relates to intersections,
Yes.
like all that
Yes, so-
buffering, et cetera.
Any development will have to go through the same process. They might not meet all of our zoning, so they might have to go to the zoning hearing board, but all new development will have to go through the full land development process, public process.
Okay, thank you.
Just one slide. So what are our next steps? The transfer of 118 acres anticipated in 18 to 24 months. While that's occurring, we're getting ready to develop a request for proposals, the HLRA, and to have them sent out in a timely fashion that we hope we time things pretty much that, when we get the title of the property, we have a buyer for the property. We don't want to hold the property long. So we'll probably send out an RFP depending on how the transfer time is going with the Navy in times, hopefully to time it as soon as we have title of the property, we are near going to settlement for the property. Engineering and permitting will continue on the Norristown Road extension. That'll be the first road through the base. So the engineering is continuing for that. And we will continue to negotiate with the United States Navy for the remainder of the property. And just stay informed. Our Horsham Land and Redevelopment Authority folks are here in the building, and they have their website and email, and you can call. And as I always say to people, if you question something you see on the internet and want to confirm it's a fact, please call us, and we will answer your questions.
Okay. All right, so the hearing is now closed, and we'll consider this later this evening. First item tonight is to call the meeting to order and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next we want to recognize Connor Johnston-Bow for his Eagle Scout project of Little Libraries in the Parks. Bill?
As everybody knows, we are always proud to have our Boy Scouts do their Eagle Scout projects in Horsham Township, and we have a lot in Horsham Township that has been done in the past, and a lot by Troop 3, very active troop in Hatboro. They have done many projects, not only in our park system, but College Settlement, Jarrett Nature Center, Pennypack Farm, you name it. I think everyone in town has gotten a Eagle Scout project. And so we're very fortunate to have Connor do his project. I won't say anything about his project, so I won't steal his thunder. But Connor, you can come on up and either sit at the table or stand at the mic, and you just tell me when you want me to hit the next slide. You can introduce yourself and then start your presentation. You can pull that up if you need to. There's a screen right there. Yep, there you go.
Hello, members of the council. As you heard, my name is Connor Johnston-Ball. So I built little free libraries and parks around the township. So to start off, we were planning the idea in about June, I think is when we started. We started off with, I came up with the idea of building free little libraries around parks and discussed with a few different people, and the idea came up of what if we do more than one. So I believe we went to 3. And after that, we went to how big should they be? Because I have already built a free little library. It is in my backyard. And I have realized sometimes that the sizing is not always perfect because some books do not fit well. It is a limited amount. Books are often kind of shoved on top of each other or in front. So I came up with a little bit bigger. Should we do a book drive? Should we do a garden underneath? At one point, we discussed a little free seed library. For any questions about that, it's very similar. It's you put seeds in, people come in, take them out. Sometimes people put seeds in for others, but we turned that idea down because it's not as self-running as with books. And should we include anything else with it, such as, like, I said the garden, we decided to pick that. We put plants in and everything, but we discussed if we should put anything else in. Like I said, I have already built one. This is the library I already built. It is in my backyard. So, some photos of it. In this one, me and my grandfather built it. We used pallets so that that was more on like, it was reusing pallets, so we did that kind of to not go out and buy more wood to, help with the environment and everything. So, the planning, we came to the final agreement of 5 libraries and 4 parks because we were going to do Lukens Park, but there was already a library in there. So we put 2 in Kohler because we put one near the soccer fields and one near the pond. The garden, we decided to put like different kinds of plants in with like just a small little circle around with mulch. I then had to go out and plan the sizing and materials later, and you will see the first sketch I did. Had to do all that. Then I went in, and for a few hours I was looking at pricing and fundraising. And then that's when I finally was able to meet with Mr. Haggerty. I discussed my idea with him. We figured out, what parks we were going to do, fine-tuned the idea, and that's where I got my approval. And a little bit later, I met with Mr. Lynch on site to each parks to plan our different locations. Like I said, our sketch is right there. Went through, did a real quick little sketch. That's our basic idea, and I went through like books, sizing, and everything to get that sketch down. So to finally implement the plan, I went out. I wrote different letters to multiple businesses, and I put out on social media donations for money and materials from everyone. Went to different Lowe's and Home Depots. I went and made a flyer and held a book drive. I gathered all sorts of donations from multiple different hardware stores and everything. And then once I got the books, I organized them by like sizing and age grouping, so kids, like young adults and adults. I went and requested volunteers from both my family and my troop to help on build days and install days with a flyer and all the necessary information. And we did 2 weekends over the summer to build and then install. And for that, I provided all lunch for all volunteers. Here are some photos of our first weekend. We were building the libraries, staining them, had a ton of help those days. No big problems with that. Weather was pretty nice. And then our second weekend, we went out and we're installing the libraries to all the parks. So some of our challenges were our first install day, we had some heavy rain. Made it through decently well. Was like third library or so, we started getting rained out. we managed to get all of them done. On our first one, we were at Carpenter Park, I believe, and we were digging, and someone mentioned some electrical lines, and we stopped for concerns on safety and everything because we discovered it was about an 18,000 volt line that may or may not be running through where we're digging. So we went and skipped that part. Later on, went back to that, finished that. On our second install day, we were at Carpenter Park again. I believe we were at the second to last library, went over, put our plants there, and went back. When we came over to install them, the plants were stolen, so we lost about 20% of our plants and about 18 man hours. So the math with that is really just 2 plants and only like an hour lost, but with everything, that's what it came out to. So another one was our hinges were too big. We had to go back out and buy new hinges to install because after the first library, we discovered they were not fitting very well, so we started drilling holes into the hinges ourselves to install them. The doors were flexed by the plexiglass because of how thin they were, because it was a very big window on it. So we were adjusting the latches and hinges to make those fit. And then the last one was the leadership. You know, I've always been told I'm a good leader, but I myself have seen myself as more of a worker. So it was hard not doing that and more guiding people and making sure everyone was doing what they were supposed to and listening. So that one I feel was my biggest challenge. And overall, we were able to get all of them done. Some nice gardens around with grass, and overall, doing pretty good so far. So, thank you.
Connie, want to stay up in case you have questions? Sorry. It's not that easy.
Well, first, congratulations on this project. They look like they're going to get a lot of use in our park, so thank you for that. It looks like you really thought it through from the beginning to the end, and thank you for the little libraries. Congratulations on getting to this point in your scouting career.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank you for your initiative. I also want to thank our staff, Kyle Lynch and Dennis Haggerty, for your time spent meeting with Connor to plan this out. And a note for the public, Connor's backyard, because it sounds like it's in his backyard, backs up to a main road that goes through Horsham Town Development, so it is accessible to the public. And there is a seed library at the lobby of Horsham Library if anyone is looking for seeds. And it sounds like we need a little free plant stand next. But thank you, Connor. Looks awesome. Great job.
Thanks.
Connor, I just want to say you did a fantastic job. I was actually out at Deep Meadow, so I saw the little library that is across from the clubhouse or the snack stand area. And I was actually curious on how they got there. So it was really nice seeing it on the trail. I hope that a lot of people take advantage of your hard work, and I appreciate you really helping the community and making a nice addition to our parks. So thank you.
Thank you.
I do have one follow-up question as another producer of Little Free Libraries. What is the plan for upkeep or like checking on them?
So we have registered them under our family's account. We will be going through putting more books in, keeping them in decent shape, making sure the plants are doing good, all of that.
Thank you.
Again, congratulations on your project. I know a few of you said you saw these. They're very well made. I mean, they are sturdy, and I was impressed when I saw the final product. And so, congratulations. Have you gotten your Eagle Scout yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. But thank you for choosing us. Thank you for choosing the project in Horsham. We're very proud of Troop 3, but also to the Boy Scouts and all the great work that you guys do. So thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to get you a picture now.
Right, next we have a check presentation to St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry and St. Matthew's Little Pantry from the proceeds of the 7th Annual Carpenter Cross Bike Race.
As council knows, there's 2 events that we sponsor, and we use the proceeds to go to help families in Horsham. And the 2 organizations that we provide some of our money to is our St. Vincent de Paul Society, that's based out of St. Catherine's Church, and then we also give to the St. Matthew's Little Pantry that they have at their facility off Tennis Avenue. And I know I say, and I will keep saying it, to thank you to Steve and Patty and all their volunteers and all the great work that you do. A lot of us think it's just a food pantry, and they do so much more work than just the food pantry. They will sometimes pay people's utility bills to keep the heat on, the electric on. If someone needs to be put up in a local hotel for a night or 2, they do that and provide that service. So they do above and beyond just food. But they're now serving, the last I heard, 100 families. It might be more now. So it's an amazing, if you ever stop over there on a Saturday morning, they are so well organized. But there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people that are waiting in that line for food. So amazing work that they do, and I'm glad that the township is able to give you what we can from the Carpenter Bike Race. We also use some proceeds from the Freezer 5K to help St. Vincent de Paul out. We have a box and a donation box at the library for people. It's getting filled now. I don't know how often Bill Gallagher shows up. Once or twice a day to pick up the box, to pick everything up. It's amazing what this community can do when need is there. So, but thank you for all that you do. And if you want to come up.
One more? One,
Somebody should be covering up the light switch.
2.
Where's the
That's
light?
the marks right behind you.
Behind me?
All right, next is an opportunity for questions. Anybody have any questions or comments?
I just wanted to take a moment and thank the police officers and the police department for collecting all of the food donations at the end of election night and taking them over to the food pantry. I know that there was a lot of donations, at least at a couple of the polls that I saw, and the officer who came and picked up at the location I was at was extremely friendly, helped me find my lost phone at the same time. And I know that was a lot of work for everyone at the end of the night. There are, Ellen, help me, how many polling locations are there?
13 or 14?
Yeah,
There's
that's a lot.
18 precincts. Yeah.
So,
Thank you. Over 187 bags.
over 187 bags, is that what you just said? Wow, incredible. So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. And thank you to the police department for taking those.
Okay, next is the approval of minutes. Bill, did you have a comment on that?
I do. As council knows, we had some technology issues the last few days here at the township building. One reason we didn't have Connor's proclamation, but also the minutes are not ready for this evening's consideration, so you're going to have to table them and approve them at your next meeting.
All right, do we need a motion to table it, or can we just table it? All right.
I move to table the minutes.
Second.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Treasurer's report?
The balance in the general fund as of November 30th, 2025 is $5,351,162.55. For the most part, the expenditures in the general fund reflect normal activity for November. As of the end of the month, we have received 102.27% of budgeted revenue and have expended 78.1% of budget expenses. Our projected revenue for next year will not cover expenditures. We are continuously monitoring and will need to address the difference in next year's budget. For a more detailed presentation of our current financial position, I would refer you to your monthly booklet.
Next, approval of the checks.
I move to approve the list of checks in all funds from November 6, 2025 to November 12, 2025 in the amount of $504,421.46, and further move to authorize payment of same. I move to ratify the U.S. Bank credit card transactions for the month of October 2025 in the amount of $20,425.29, and further move to authorize payment of same. I move to ratify checks in the Horsham Township Charitable Fund in the amount of $2,987.04, and further move to authorize payment of same.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, next we need to consider an ordinance amending the Township zoning ordinance to create new zoning districts on the former Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base Willow Grove as per the approved redevelopment plan.
I move to adopt the ordinance as proposed, amending the township zoning ordinance to create new zoning districts on the former Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base Willow Grove as per the approved redevelopment plan.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. This is a roll call vote.
Mr. Glemser, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Slaff, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Wade, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Chunky, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, next we need to consider a resolution for waiver of wetland development with conditions for the Squires Golf Club, 623 Cedar Hill Road, 25-13-W, to construct a minor addition for a locker room and renovation of equipment storage. We need to add something to this one?
Sure. All right, so typically, just generally speaking, I'll just kind of give some background. When you have an approval with conditions of a land development application, you need to get the applicant to agree to it, because if they don't, the practical effect is a denial. And typically how we do it in Horsham is we have the resolution, and then there's an agreement to accept conditions to go along with it that the applicant and the township signs. And that agreement winds up being recorded at the recorder of deeds so that any future property owner is aware of what was done in the way of land development in the past. Sometimes it's not practical to have the agreement to accept completely signed and notarized by everybody by the time of the council meeting. So what we can do instead, and as you'll see, the draft resolutions have conditions that the applicant just needs to accept the conditions and indicate their acceptance in writing within 15 days of tonight. After the 15 days, it would turn into a denial, but I've been in contact with the representatives of both the Squires project and the Hallmark project that's going to come up in a bit, and they've both indicated they're accepting it, the conditions. I have no reservations that they're not going to accept, but it was just not possible to have the agreements to accept the conditions signed and ready for you tonight. So if it's all right with council, the resolutions as proposed would have the condition to accept within 15 days. And if you're fine with that, that's legally perfectly acceptable. That's what we've done on the Squires Golf Club application as well as the Hallmark Building Group application.
All right, so do we have a resolution, or do we have a motion, I'm sorry, with the amended language?
I move to approve the resolution as proposed, approving a waiver of land development with conditions for Squires Golf Club, 623 Cedar Hill Road, 25-13-W, to construct a minor addition for locker room renovation and equipment storage.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. This is a roll call vote.
Mr. Glemser, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Slaff, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Wade, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Shunky, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, next we need to consider the following subdivision and land development plans. John and Judith Hines, 438 Arbutus Avenue, 25-12-S.
That is the subdivision that has been reviewed by council. It is recommended